Greetings, nerds. This is SNN Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont, and with me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
Hey, Sarah. How are you doing this evening?
We're back.
We're back. I know, stranger. How you been?
I've been alive, surviving, in a whirlwind. I know you're dealing with some hurricanes.
Yeah. Dorian, thankfully did not do to North Carolina what it did to the Bahamas. But, of course, I look at the 5 o'clock report today, and then I see another storm possibly heading this way. So it's sort of like, 'tis the season. But in all seriousness, though, we did put a little link to folks who want to donate to charity of your choice to help those folks in the Bahamas because they really got slammed.
Yeah. What will be the name of the next storm?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I try not to look at them.
I am always curious because it's just interesting, like hurricanes. Yeah. And then I always feel bad for the ones that really do hit if you have that name.
Yeah, exactly. I
mean, poor Katrina's out in the world.
Yeah, or Florence's, or Harvey's, or Maria's. I mean,
Dorian.
Irma, Dorian. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's an interesting system. It really is how that all works, and but that's really not what we're here to talk about today, because we are back to talk about movie and TV shows. We had a plan to watch Teen Titans. We did not do that.
Not yet, but we will. We
will. This Sunday, we're going to cover both of those, the first 2 episodes of Teen Titans Season 2. But for now, we just wanted to get back into the motions of SNN Nerd, so we are settling for some news topics, and then we are going to do a deep dive into Carnival Row, but we got some thoughts. More importantly, Will, despite all of the chaos of my life, all of the priorities that I had going on this weekend, I still made time to watch 8 episodes, the full season of Elite Season 2 on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw your tweet on that. That sounds like that was your respite for the weekend.
So it's just I love, this is part of the something that I really like about Netflix. I always forget when they're dropping content. So the build up is not there for me. So I just go to Netflix and I'm like, oh, they dropped some new content. Oh, I like this show. Let me start watching it. And Elite season, it is a Spanish TV show. First of all, it's Spanish. Yes, I'm going international. But something I really like about Elite is it's written very similarly to 13 Reasons Why, except 13 Reasons Why gets into this very weird PSA, we should all be nice to one another, this is not right kind of mode. It's very teen melodrama. And sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's just like, all right, I get it. I hear you. Okay. I understand. Yeah. Please donate here. And what Elite does is it goes the other extreme. Like, it is very much leans more heavily into adult content and more about this mystery. Each season, the first season, it was about the murder of one of the students. Second season, one of the students goes missing. So there's always this thread, and they really do a good job with the intrigue, the mystery, and making sure the viewers, despite all of these subplots, you're still constantly wondering and second guessing yourself of like, okay, what's really going on? And it's 8 episodes. That's another thing. It's not one of those long 13 episodes seasons that Netflix usually does with their original content. And it's really good. Some of the characters I didn't care for in season 1. Season 2, they had some of the most intriguing parts. I don't know why. So it's just, and I know some of our listeners also have recently fallen in love with the show, but
Yeah.
It's different. It's Spanish, and it's well written.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, when I saw your tweet about it earlier over the weekend, and how you raved about it. So I know usually whenever you're moved to like actually comment about a show on social media, then it definitely must be a winner. So uh, yeah, it may be one of those hiatus shows that I'll check out.
No, it's not for you.
Not for me. Okay. Fair. Well, thanks for telling me, so I can
No,
scratch it from my watch list.
Will, I've talked to you about TV and movies. There is a fine line of shows that I will watch independently, and then
Yeah.
shows that I want to bring up to make you watch. This
Yeah.
is not one of those shows.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I appreciate the warning, and I appreciate the advice, and I will then scratch that off the list of shows to watch.
I just Oh man. So Disney Plus. Speaking of
Yeah.
streaming shows and original content, we got some news this week that Hailee Steinfeld has been offered the part to play Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series. That was a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she is really riding a hot streak right now. I mean, she obviously is a Oscar nominee for True Grit, and as far as getting in genre, of course, she was Gwen Stacy in Into the Spider Verse. So, I mean, I think it's a slam dunk as far as casting choice. Uh, Question is, will she? Where will this go as far as growing in the role? I mean, at some point, Jeremy Renner will probably, if they follow the comics, he will drop off as Hawkeye, and she will assume the role, and maybe we'll see her in some of the MCU features.
Hmm. Maybe. I don't really know. I mean, she has that look where she can be the quote unquote strong female character, that edge, and really very similar to Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, that's a good parallel. That
She
is a
has
very good
that
parallel.
very similar where, yeah, she's really pretty, but she also she gives off this not too much femininity to the point where I'm just like, okay, prom queen.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
can go
Hmm.
sit over there. No, it looks like it's a tomboy, essentially, is what I'm trying to get
Yeah.
across. And so I like the casting. Um, Part of me is also kind of like, she's a name. And
Yeah.
something that Marvel did very well at the beginning is really, I know they led with Robert Downey Jr., but
Hmm.
still, some of these actors were given opportunities that now they're big names like Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
So I feel, as much as I'm like, yeah, no duh, you give her the part, I'm also hoping that maybe some of these other characters we end up seeing through the Disney Plus shows are offered to more of the unknowns out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there were some people who were lobbying unknown, relatively up and comers. I know we were approached as far as on the podcast by actress who was uh, played one of the Red Power Rangers, and yeah, she had a demo video as far as her working out in the gym, and really from the physicality of the role, could definitely pull it off. So I definitely get your point about the MCU and Marvel and Disney giving uh, people on the rise the opportunity to make a name for themselves in this franchise, like Chris Hemsworth did. But but at the same time, I could also see the point where, okay, this is Disney Plus. We really want to have
Right.
some branded names for the streaming platform to get the eyeballs there, and obviously you already have that with Jeremy Renner with playing Hawkeye in the
Anthony
films.
Mackie.
Anthony Mackie, Jackie,
Sebastian
uh,
Stan,
Stan. Yeah. So I mean, I even
Tom
saw a rumor out.
Hiddleston. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. 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 So yeah. Okay, yeah. I
Vision
mean, the
and
list goes on.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely expanding the universe, using this platform as a way to really give some of the this franchise, give these characters opportunities on the smaller screen to really grow and like Agent Coulson and Agents of Shield. So yeah, I get why they went with for the name and casting Kate Bishop.
Yeah. And I mean, I like I said before, it's not like I'm mad at it. I
Yeah,
just I'm pretty excited because I like Hailee Steinfeld. Edge of 17 is a really good film, and it's funny because you immediately bring up True Grit, and I'm like, no, she's at this point known for Edge of 17 so much more, despite not getting an Oscar nomination for that part. But anyways, in other news, the Joker wins Best Picture at the Venice Film Festival and gets a standing ovation.
yeah.
And
8 minutes? I mean, really?
yeah, but I feel like I always hear about those kind of standing ovations, and then the movie comes out, and the public is kind of like, yeah, what was the big deal about it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems though that this film is getting across the board rave reviews, and I know that is really setting the bar high, and people's expectations are going to be where are going to be super high as far as what to expect from this film, and it seems to me that this film is has going to eclipse just genre fans, and
Mhm.
it's going to be a film that um, how Endgame and Infinity War became like event films, and where it's going to break through, and not just genre fans are going to be there, but others are going to go just to see it. One, just because of it's Joaquin Phoenix, and he has that. He's just a phenomenal actor, and can really. He sounds like he's really thrown himself into this role to the point where he was even like walking off the set sometimes because he was so in character and wasn't feeling certain things during his portrayal. So it's I'm looking forward to it. I know when I first heard about it, I was like, God, do you really need a Joker film? But the more I hear about this movie and how it's really, yes, it's a DC character, but it's a real character study, and this universe that they've created for this character. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think I'll be let down.
I am still going to keep my expectations low. I will probably be disappointed. I will probably be like, really? This got 8 minutes? Actually, let's be honest. I'll forget that even happened by the time I see this movie.
Yeah.
I I do appreciate that it's not like Venom in the sense where last year we were getting these trailers, but there wasn't this momentum, and I feel like with this win, there is a definite shift in momentum, and that no,
Yeah.
this really is going to be different. This really is going to take a step outside of the genre with such a classic character who we all love and adore, and understand it through a different lens. I mean, as you compare it to what happened with Endgame and Avengers, I wouldn't go there. I think this is very similar to what happened with The Dark Knight. Because The Dark Knight, in all honesty, part of the reason why it made so much money and it was such this big thing is because a lot of people saw political parallels. A lot of people went to
Yeah.
see Heath Ledger, and the acting and just the performance in that. No, this is not just your standard action superhero movie. There is something else going on that people want to see and want to, more importantly, see in theaters, because this is also a one-off for all we know, and really going to be kind of just like another version of the Joker and how he became to be and what he's all about. And I've heard that it's similar to King of Comedy. Haven't seen that film. But that's fascinating because my dad and I talk about it all the time. From what we hear, I mean, you look at someone like Robin Williams, there's this true thing that occurs with comedians where it's the sad clown syndrome. So there's a reason why the Joker is a clown. Out of anything he could have been, he's a clown for some reason. And from what we see in the trailers, they're really going to play into that, as well as the desire to be famous, to be on TV, and to have that limelight, only to know that that's 5 minutes, right? Yeah, and then it all goes away. The cheers and the applause all goes away, and then you're just stuck with yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I mean, that the trailer did definitely convey that, as you noted, and also, you know, just how clowns and people are treated in society. Because, you know, I think one of the things that stuck with me with the latest trailer was when Arthur, the Joker, was trying to, you know, make nice and tease the little boy on the bus, and his mother basically snapped at him to just stop doing that, and so his desire to be wanted and to be liked, I think, is one of the things that draws me to this film, and just that character play, and I think you're definitely right. It does flow more towards Dark Knight than the typical loud Marvel fan film event.
Yeah. All of our fan fiction, because we want our heroes to team up and save the world, and Thanos dies, and not to take away the most successful movie of all time. You know, like I understand that's in its own league, and so will this be. And I think more importantly, honestly, what makes me want to really drink the Kool-Aid with you, Will, is that if this really is as successful as we think it's going to be with both critics and audiences, that just shifts so much more momentum towards the Batman in a few years.
Right.
And even though they've made it perfectly clear that you will not see the Batman in the Joker or the Joker movie, there will be tie-ins, but it's not going to be like any kind of crossover scenario happening. It's still DC taking. It's still going to feel much like a part 2 or like the next chapter. So, I don't know.
I agree.
Anyways, also in other news, Apple TV comes in at $4.99 a month, and it will launch with 4 scripted shows, including The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. I've watched that trailer probably 5 times. I really want to see it. Huh. I have not seen Hailee Steinfeld's Dickinson series. And then they're also doing a space drama, For All Mankind, and a Jason Momoa-led genre. As you can tell, I am reading notes, and I have no idea what I'm reading.
Well, let me help you out there. So, I did see the Dickinson trailer for, and it is based off of Emily Dickinson, but it even though it's set in the 19th century period comic drama, it definitely has some modern touches to it. So Hailee, she's flavor of the month. She's going to be doing that on Apple TV Plus, and it also is eventually Disney Plus. And so there's that. The Morning Show, I remember the first time I watched that trailer, and it caught me by surprise. Actually, I was just thinking that it did a solid job of, like, I thought it was an actual, like, morning show
Yep.
on a network. I mean, it really caught me off guard. I think I was like watching a basketball game or something, but it completely like caught me off guard by that. And
Hmm.
the background of this show, it's I guess Steve Carell basically is a Matt Lauer type of character who
Hmm.
is partnered with Jennifer Aniston's character and get me too'd, and he yeah, so Reese Witherspoon comes in and is the up and comer, and it sounds like it's. At first, I was like, but it's actually the more we learn about it, it's almost makes me want to buy it, subscribe to another streaming
Right.
service.
I mean, I will for that one show. I will tell you now that you talk about Dickinson, I do remember seeing it. No interest whatsoever. But I very much the morning show. What I like about the way that trailer is structured is that you feel like in 2 minutes you understand the plot
Hmm.
with Steve Carell and him being let go of the show because of something that happened between him and Jennifer Aniston's character. But then they continue and they bring in Reese Witherspoon. And suddenly there's a twist because as much as they could have easily stuck with Jennifer Aniston and how she overcomes whatever probably sexual misconduct happened, but now there's a rivalry because
Hmm.
she's going to be eclipsed. And so I really find that interesting because that suddenly makes her character more three-dimensional rather than being the victim who overcomes. You also
Right.
have she becomes also somebody who's playing some defense because she doesn't want suddenly to be replaced by Reese Witherspoon when the show is trying to move forward and move beyond what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a very topical show. And as I said, it definitely gets me to the point where I'm like, all right, now which streaming services I'm gonna have to cut here because
Yep.
it's starting to add up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one of the days I have to sit down and be like, okay, so let's talk about consolidating.
yeah,
But then
exactly.
again, a lot of these, I think it'll be very interesting to know because Hulu is a station that I'm always constantly. Do I really need it?
Mhm.
Probably not, except Handmaid's Tale, and
Right.
except I have my Showtime app on it,
Hmm.
so or subscription, so then I get billions. So I have, but I can also move over to Amazon, except Handmaid's Tale.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's the streaming war. I mean, I was just looking at an infographic. I mean, you have, you know, clearly Apple TV is like, okay, we're gonna start with these four scripted shows. Jason Momoa. See, that was a very interesting trailer as well, as far as space where this dystopian future where humans have lost their ability to their eyesight and
Oh my
uh,
God.
yeah, and so his character ends up having twins who have the ability to see, and so Alfre Woodard, who plays a priestess in his community, and the villain in his show is sees this as these abilities for these two twins as witchcraft. So it's I when I saw the trailer, I was like, all right, kind of. I'm not sure about that one, but but with all at least with these new programs on Apple Plus and the 4.99 jumping out the gate, they're trying to say, hey, we got some original content here, and we are going to go toe to toe with Disney Plus. And even though Disney Plus has a greater catalog and all in their original content, I mean, we are in the realm of the streaming wars, y'all, and when the average person spends $50 on three streaming services, I mean, I you know all of I think on the plus side, all these companies are going to have to up their game to keep folks, just like cable did with cord cutters. And HBO, coming in at almost $15, they need to rethink their pricing strategy.
Well, yeah, and I think more importantly, what this lineup or this slate tells you is that Apple TV recognizes the need to diversify. So you have your morning show for women and moms, especially, who always want to sit down and watch something. It's kind of, I don't know, for some reason I think it's not in the family genre, but there's something appealing targeted on it. Then you have the young adults with Dickinson, and then you have For All Mankind, which I can only imagine is probably more for nerds and geeks who really like sci-fi genre. And then you have Jason Momoa, again attracting the ladies, and a twist, a different. I mean, everybody wants to be the next Game of Thrones right now. Like, that's the staple. That's like set up this some kind of benchmark for demand TV. Let's merge together. We're going to talk about Carnival Row in a few minutes, and that's what they attempted to do. Attempted to merge reality with fantasy in this way. And so that's what I haven't seen the trailer for C, but as you're describing it, that's what I have in my head. And I'm like, it's so hard to do right.
Yeah.
Like it was Game of Thrones should not have worked. In fact, they had to reshoot the pilot because the pilot did not work. So I love how everybody continues to try, but it's further proof that it's really hard to accomplish what they did.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I haven't watched, as everyone knows who's listened to our podcast, I have not watched Game of Thrones, but as far as it being part of the culture zeitgeist and the water cooler, it broke through. So even if you haven't watched a single episode, the references, it's just one of those shows that, as you said, it is the benchmark that everyone is trying to aspire to now. And, it could be one of those things where it truly was lightning in a bottle. And instead of trying to be the next Game of Thrones, like DC was trying to be the next MCU, folks just need to break out and try to just become the next fill in the blank that everyone really gravitates towards, as far as a show that is popular in the masses.
Right, because I mean, like I said before, Hulu has Handmaid's Tale. Actually, I would also like to mention Carnival Row. Watching that first episode, there's some images right at the beginning that made me think, oh, they're going Handmaid's Tale on us. Nope.
Yeah.
They aren't. Don't be fooled by it. But there were some images where I'm like, whoa, interesting. And then it took a left turn.
Yeah. Well, let's just jump right into this one then, since we've danced around it. So, what were your thoughts?
I was so bored. No, this show, I'll be honest, I probably didn't give it the full good old try, considering I wasn't really anticipating this show or us covering it. It's just that, in a way, let's be honest, we kind of needed something to talk about. So we're like, hey, Carnival Row dropped. Let's check it out. It seems like it could be good. Mm-hmm. And it felt long. It felt like, and what I was trying to figure out is, why isn't this working? I feel like they spend 2 minutes in the beginning kind of explaining where we are, what's going on. There was a war. The Fae were cast out, and now they're on the run. And then you have and men, of course, it's always men who are evil and don't like these creatures who are coming in, and apparently doing wrong things. Even though it's very, as you can tell as I'm trying to explain this, they didn't really explain fully
Right.
why that prejudice occurred. Like, why are they being run off? What are they doing that is causing so much harm? And I also take issue because the fairies should have some magic that's on their side. So I don't understand why they literally can just fly away and that's their ability, and it's kind of harmful. Anyways, it's just, and then they kind of set this up where this girl used to love a man, and then the war happened, and she thought he died.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see she's on the run, and then her boat gets blown up, and I think to myself, did we establish that character is dead? She now appears to be dead. Did we just kill off our main leads? Like, are we going back in time? Because I'm very confused as to what we're doing right now.
So I don't want to just dump on this thing. So let me at least try to give it things I liked about it first. So the things I did like about the series, and we've only watched one episode.
Yep.
So that, so keep that in mind, folks, whenever you decide on whether or not you continue to watch it or not. But visually, I thought it was visually interesting in some regard, and so that was the one thing I did like about it. But for me, the thing that really bothered me about this show, and one, I felt like they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do.
Right.
Because first off, this is original content. I mean, it truly is an original story. It's not based off of any books or comic books or anything like that. So, kudos to the creative team for trying to come up with something new. But honestly, the first scene when I saw, spoiler alert, when I saw the Fae, and who I guess are just sort of the catch-all name for anybody who's not human on this world, it reminded me of Star Trek Beyond, where Kirk and McCoy were running from these natives, and then they jump off a cliff and they get rescued by the Enterprise. And I mean, the scene was just carbon copied, just like the setup in Star Trek Beyond. And then there was other things in the film, in the show, in the pilot, that I was like, hey, I saw this in another show, and I saw this in another show. And so that, to me, that really kind of irritated me with this, because one, this felt kind of derivative of other things. Two, it didn't know exactly, did it want to be a political drama, or did it want to be a fantasy, or did it want to be a cop drama, because Orlando Bloom's character is one of the, I guess, few or the only law enforcement officer in the burg who actually treats the Fae with any kind of respect. So, so you had the racial and classism issues going on there. I mean, it was just so many things going on in this pilot that it would have, I think they would have been better served, at least in the pilot, to just basically establish the world. And they may do this further into the series, then build on these other themes that you're trying to address. I just felt they just threw it out there all at once, and it was just so much, it was just like a visual and storied mess of a pilot. And it's just the wrong way out. It's just out of the gate, it was just a mess.
Yeah, I was so underwhelmed by everything. I felt like the actors didn't even want to be there. Orlando Bloom tried his best. Cara Delevingne, I don't know why people keep casting her. I really don't. I don't understand it. She's a pretty face, but the girl cannot act.
Yeah. Yeah.
she she has one tone. Like there's no
Yeah.
inflection, there's
Yeah.
no an array of emotions, and I just feel like she's always giving people the skank eye. Like she
Yeah.
just has that, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a mystery," and no, 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 no. So, but I also they didn't even what they really wanted to do was sell you on this love affair or make you at least interested to learn more about what happened and why
Yeah.
these two characters who are on different sides of the war came together and then he broke her heart. I don't care. Like they did a horrible job setting that up
Yeah.
because they were so much more focused on setting up the world and all of these creatures. And one of my favorite lines in the episode had nothing to do with the two leads and this weird side plot that I barely focused on. But these two characters, humans, come to this house expecting this master, and then a creature comes down and they're rude to him, and then they ask for the master, and he's like, I'm the master here. And I was like, you tell them that, sir. You like if I need that gif, okay?
Mhm.
Like that
Yeah.
was amazing. It was so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they have the other line, a racist with a hammer is beating us where they can find us, and you all don't give a crap. Like I think they really did, Will, want to use this parallel for what's currently going on and a lot of the politics that are happening now, and not only put this twist it with the fantasy but also the Victorian age elements
Yeah.
involved. However, they weren't original enough.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, that's Romeo and Juliet. We've seen that story before.
Hmm.
If you want to live up to Game of Thrones, you're gonna have to do something more because they didn't play into that whole Romeo and Juliet bullshit. They played into political intrigue and families at war and sacrifice and a game itself in trying to win and be king or be queen. There was none of that in this. It was
Right.
all about this like very loose thread that you were immediately supposed to believe because Cara Delevingne is such a great actress that, oh, viewers would automatically want them to be together. No, that's
No.
not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, I really can't add much more to that. I mean, it really, yeah. I mean, I think I've said what I had to say. It just it had too much going on. Nothing that was really compelling and just grabbed you. I mean, I think the first time I tried watching it, I fell asleep, and then I was like, okay. Second, I gave it another chance, and I made it through. But and I try to be fair to shows, and at least try to get to episode 3 because I figure I give it the 3 episode rule with these, especially with these, limited run 10 to 10 to 13 episode series. Usually by the third episode, I could figure out I'm about stay with it or not. But as I was telling you in DMs, and I'll share with the audience. I mean, it was like Pennyworth for me, where I was trying to find myself a reason to like it. I just couldn't find it.
Right, right. I mean, it, I, if you're gonna do this, don't release it September. Because what you and I are doing right now are preparing for the onslaught of new TV shows, old TV shows, or returning TV shows coming back for the fall. So to drop an original show like this right now, it's telling us, hey, we need you to add our show to your rotation.
Mm-hmm.
No. You need us to watch you, give you a chance to be added to the rotation. You can't demand it. Like the timing is not in your flavor, especially if that's your pilot.
Yeah.
If that's your pilot, I'm done. Like I have no interest in returning because I'm preparing myself to be swamped with shows that just by watching the trailer, they're probably a better quality. And B, returning shows that have already won me over. Yeah, Arrow, definitely not my favorite show anymore. However, I have watched so much Arrow that I need to see it through.
Yeah, you're vested. Yeah, you're vested. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Robot, we're a month away, and I am like so looking forward to season 4. And there's new shows out there too that we were just talking about starting in November with the streaming services on Apple Plus and even Disney Plus. I mean, there's a very crowded market, a very crowded space now, and if you're going to bring original content, especially that's not based off any source material, you just gotta knock it out of the park to keep the eyeballs on it.
Where were you in June? That's all I'm saying. Where were you in June?
Yeah.
There are months when you can drop something like this, get people's eyes on it because you don't have the competition. They chose the wrong time. It was not the time. It's gonna fall flat. So there you go. Well, that's it for us tonight. Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Will M Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And you can find me at SJ Belmont, SJBELMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at CNN Nerd. Friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. But most importantly, rate, subscribe, and comment on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spotify. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.